So one of the features that the SG software gives you is the ability to record yourself while dry firing or when you're live firing. Live fire is really good. It's what I use to post or show my students all this movement and extra shots and all that stuff. It records everything. The good thing about dry firing as well is that what I did was, for a while when I was younger and back in the days they didn't have the technology, I would stand in front of a mirror and I would just aim at myself but what I'm doing is paying attention to any extra movement that I have in my draw and my reload and stuff like that. One of the things that I'm very weak at right now is coming off the table, reload, loading the gun. And that happens a lot in international matches, so I have to get good at it. So one of the things that I like to do is now, instead of just watching myself in a mirror, I can still set up the same exact way I'd set up, but now I'd have the video recording platform on the software and start using that and just pay attention to it. So one of the things that I like to see is how much excess movement I had on my reload.
Brought to you by Shooters Global. We created the advanced training system and next-gen shot timers to help you progress faster.
Now I just gotta start the video. I got it in 2 sets, 2 reps. I'm gonna record it. I'm gonna get myself set up. I'm gonna get myself in a position where I can see it. I can start this drill whether on my app, on the software itself, or the timer. So I'm gonna do the timer. So I'm gonna presume loading while firing one shot from an unloaded position. This happens a lot in IPSC, so here's what we're gonna do right now. So now I can look at all of my movement and extra stuff that I'm doing. You can see it here. That movement right there is, I used to do that over and over. This specific part right here, right before the insertion, I would separate the gun and the gun magazine, and it would cause me extra time that I didn't like. And this was a little bit of the correction where it didn't have that much, and then I'll still correct it and correct it and correct it. And so when I see those extra movement, all I want to do is see those extra movement. It shouldn't have that. It should be a pretty clean insertion right from gun. There was an extra movement. All those extra movement is something that I have to make sure that I account for and practice, and I don't want to have all these extra movements. I just want to be able to repeat it. And the second rep, it was much better. So the movement I'm trying to train is this ability to be able to put from there, from here, instead of separating the two to try to slam in, because I had that when I was a kid. I used to try to have to slam the magazine in to go all the way in. So now to correct that, all I have to do is line it up and shove the magazine in there, and that movement is what allows for me to have a consistent repetition over and over and have really good reload all the way through, as opposed to what I was doing before. I would do this, then I would come back down, and so now that would create a lot of fumbles on my unloaded start. So that's one of the things that I would do. The video is to make sure that I pay attention to any extra movement that I'm doing versus a top shooter wouldn't or isn't doing. And that's the big thing about having video review, is to be able to see what you're doing right or wrong, and having that available on the video itself, on the app itself, is pretty cool. Instead of just having to watch the mirror like I used to do and stare at the mirror what I'm doing, instead of paying attention to what I'm supposed to do, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. This one I can replay over and over and over as many times as I can to capture the small things that I couldn't capture before by just looking at the mirror. Watching myself on video, set up the movement, timer. I just pay attention to my video. That's plus 1 second. To follow through there. 296, 236 now, second one. That one I slide lock to the rear. That's much faster, cleaner. This one I fumbled. It went slide lock to the rear. So that's okay. 397 because I fumbled it. So again, once you start learning how to use the app, you start recording videos and stuff like that, what you start to see is that you start observing your movement. Actually, extra movement is not good. It creates too much variability and it changes your technique from one to the next. You clean those things up, you're able to repeat the movement, you're able to perform consistently. So it's a really important feature as well to be able to utilize some of those videos. I use video all the time to review my matches and all that stuff. So if you're a newer shooter, you will have these extra movements that you don't really kind of want in your programming. So you pay attention to the person that's doing it, and now you have yourself on video doing it, and then you watch your video and compare it to the person that who you're studying from. Watch the way they do it and watch the way you do it, and you can see where you're wasting that time. It's a really good tool to be able to allow for you to have a partner teaching or telling you what to do basically through just recording that video. Instead of you relying on your guesswork, the video's pretty much telling you all of that stuff.